On the back of the heels of the last week's expedition to the Spalding Model Railway exhibition, this weekend just gone was the last of this season's toy and train fairs at the same location. So as you can see, I had a few, well, not as fruitful as many of my journeys there. A lot of different traders this time. I don't know whether some of the other regulars were at other locations. But the hall was still full, but it was more die cast and bits and pieces like that. So it wasn't very fruitful. There was a few bits that did catch my eye, but the prices didn't. They were very, let's say, eBay priced inspired rather than toy and train fair price. So you know, they was at the point where it wasn't worth a haggle really, because they were so far beyond expectation, shall we say. You knew they would, you know, they'll knock a pound or two off something, but the MGR hopper wagons that I pay £7 for, even like mint in box, there was like a couple there. They were tidy, but the guy wanted 10 quid each for them. Yeah, so it didn't really yield much. There was this guy had a little cardboard box full of rubbishy bits, really. Three, I think they were £5 each, or 3 for £12. And as you can see, I managed to rummage around and get 3 PGA types. Most of the ones in the box had the steps all broken off, or partly broken off, at least one or more, or all of the buffers. One had the coupling missing, the brake wheels. This one's been sort of hand painted at some stage, but I thought more on the lines of actually getting these to rob Peter for Paul, so that the parts on these ones, I chose the ones mainly for the condition rather than the livery, so that I can probably pinch the bits off them for some of the other ones that I've got. Turnouts, there was quite a few people selling used turnouts, some in varying condition. Fine scale ones were quite cheap, but I don't model fine scale, and I've still got that big box full to get rid of. But this one caught my eye. I paid £7.50 for it, which is a bit more than I've paid for some, but it is very clean condition. It's marked as a Pico one, and as you can see, it's got a full metal frog, which would normally mean it's an electro frog. But there's no wires, and the moulding doesn't even have the slot in it for the steel wire. I can't see where one has been spot welded to it. But yeah, it just seems a bit odd. There's no provision for a wire for the frog polarity. Hopefully we can get this in before my battery goes dead. Jackson models. Ouch. So yeah, it got bumped up a bit. We've bought some, I think they were 3mm to do some signs if I so takes me. I treat myself to a couple of new Bachmann Speedlink VGAs. I think this is the 3rd release, mainly because these were, what, £28 something for a brand spanking new ones, and everyone on eBay seems to think that a used one is worth as much. You get Rails of Sheffield, they want 30 odd quid and postage and that. And ironically, when they're doing one of their 20% offs, they won't accept any best offers. So you can't even best offer a realistic price, in the hope that they'll counter with something in the mid-ground. So Jackson models, I bought them and a load of Slatters all in one go because it was easier to try and find someone that had cheap sheeting and a reasonable discount on the Bachmann new products. So I bought this, well, it's checker plate, but I think they call it tread plate in the US, but it's 187. I wanted the 1/100 scale. Now, for some of you know, I've got the old Hornby Bell Inn pub, which has got a paper wrap finish to it, and as paper wraps often have, they peel, bubble, and generally sort of degrade over time. So I tried this Slatters random stone effect. Also, if I'm doing some scratch building, a lot of the earlier buildings around sort of the coastal area, Carstone, which is a sort of compressed orangey sandstone, or flint, was used around here for older buildings as a sort of, you know, quarryable local material, flint or sandstone. Sometimes chalk, but chalk's not a very durable material. So this sort of looks fairly accurate to that sort of representation, so I thought I'd get a sheet of that just to try it. So yeah, a bit of corrugated iron, so some of the old buildings might get a rusty bit of corrugated iron nailed up over the windows and whatnot, and some scalloped roof tiles, just to have a little bit of a change from slate. Everything seems to be slate, doesn't it, in kits? There's a bit of a mark there, but yeah, some scallopy tiles, and we've got some slate tiles, so I can carry on with the fair price kits. A few sheets of that, and then back to various brick bonds. I think there's English bond, Flemish bond. I bought quite a few of them because I've got several more of his kits that are arrived to clad, and probably the original ones I've already got. I probably haven't got enough here, but I'd spent enough already. So this week's new arrivals for the US fleet are a few boxcars. That's obviously an earlier one, but that came with this rail box one as a package. And another Walters, I believe, tank car. So they're the first ones I'm expecting this week. There is another batch due in, which will be later towards the end of the week, I think. Well, hopefully it shows up in the light. It seems a bit shaded to me here. Next batch of American wagons that I picked up around about the same time as the last ones entered in the auction. There was a bit of a rush, and having 3 screens on at each auction was ending at the same time. So this one's a little bit obviously older than my period I'm sort of generalising, shall we say, to. Obviously with the old walkways and the top brake wheels. What appealed to me was the weathering on it. It does run quite freely and nicely. There is a weight there is a little metal bar weight over each wheel set, but one has become detached, or already was, so it just needs some black tack because it's all been glued up, so I can't actually get in, take the base off and re-glue it. But yeah, I thought, you know, weathering it up, I might even sort of rusty it up even more and have it in an abandoned factory siding or something like that. But it does run nice, so I was tempted to pinch the couplings and just leave it abandoned, but it might see the odd outing when we need to make the numbers up, sort of thing. And along the same seller was this hopper car. I don't know whether it actually is a cool one. I suspect it is with the orange high vis there. He only had the one, but this is in, again, very good condition. It doesn't look to have had a whole lot of use, and I don't think anyone bid on it, so it was £5, so you know, I don't know what currency fluctuations are at the minute. $4.99, probably about $5.50. Not a bad deal, I guess. There was a couple more. I'll just clear the tracks. So the next one was this. I did want some covered hoppers, and this was needs a little bit of TLC. The top walkway's broken. It's worse than what it looked like on the picture, because I've already picked it up and, you know, trying to evaluate if I can take the whole thing apart, whether it's clipped in and glued, so that I can glue it off of the body to try and close the gap up, and hopefully it will stay that way when I put it back on. It's pretty filthy, so it's been lying somewhere. The paintwork is a little bit faded. Well, not a bad thing, I suppose. It sort of goes with that sort of oxidising of the paintwork over time. When I got it, the bottom was half off and slid down the shell. There's no weights, they're all missing, so easy enough. With this one not being glued down, I can just put some small wheel weights in the recesses. Coupling pieces missing there. I haven't got any tops to fit those. These little metal clips. And obviously that one's got the other style coupling, so I shall need to remove that and bin that one and put the KDs or easy couplings on. So yeah, it needs some weight, and obviously the brake piston detail and the cylinder reservoir is all missing from there, but fortunately I have got some similar models, so I'll probably just have to fashion something out of a bit of Plasticard and make a duplicate. So yeah, it's not the end of the world. Again, it was the same money comparing sort of the quality of that model versus this one, but obviously you only rely on a photograph. So yeah, it needs weight, needs couplings, needs a little bit of repair work, nothing major. The guy did have two of these. I didn't win the first auction. I think it went for about £16. And there is some listed for about £15 by it now, plus £4 postage, so you're looking £20 a pop for these. And they're boxed, look fairly new like the last ones I bought, but I haven't found a bargain equally as good as that. But I have already got one of these in the TTX yellow colours, which is like a dual purpose well car. It'll take up to a 48-foot shipping container, or obviously it can take articulated trailers, because you've got the fifth wheel coupling to secure the trailer up the top end, but I don't have any HO style trailers. But I thought, well, we can always do with another well car for the container tray, all metal construction, which sort of gives it its nice weight. And we'll probably have the same issue there. You can see they machine a little recess to just give you that tiny extra amount of wheel clearance. These will clear English third radius, which I think is 21 or 22 inch radius. So it shouldn't be as problematic as those gondolas I had. But anything smaller than that on an English layout, these don't go round. They will just come off the tracks. It's just not enough clearance in the design to cope with the smaller typical layouts that British modelers have. But yeah, that was another little one, so needs a little bit of a dust down. Unfortunately, I think it sustained the rather typical damage to the handrail bars on the steps. They've all got a little stress fracture in them now, so they'll probably end up detaching at some stage. So I might have to try and, well, if I glue anything, as soon as you catch it you're going to snap them off again. So ideally they want to be like brass wire or something, so you can bend them back. But yeah, only a small detail part. So quite pleased with that haul. It was about £28 worth. Yeah, 28. Well, 29. So what? Just over $30 US. So not too bad, I guess.